Today we're going to be taking a look at the Five Eyes. What are the Five Eyes? Well, to find that out, let's take a look at Pine Gap. The narrative tells us Pine Gap is a joint Australian-US satellite communications and signals intelligence surveillance base located near Alice Springs, Australia. It plays a significant role in global surveillance and military operations, contributing to the U.S. intelligence efforts worldwide. Is that the whole truth? This place is secretive enough that it was dubbed Australia's Area 51. It is run by the CIA, the NSA, and the NRO. It is in a remote and rough location, and yet there are supposedly miles of tunnels beneath the base. No images exist of these tunnels, but some say what goes on above the ground is just a cover for what goes on underneath. The large white radomes make it look like a space tech station. However, there are local reports of underground vibrations, low hums, and flashes of light from inside the hills. According to the errant people who occupied the land previous to the military confiscation, the base is built on, quote, dream-time song lines, spiritual pathways that connect sacred sites across the country. So, essentially, ley lines, only they're believed not metaphorical lines, but actual ridges supposedly form these lines. Pine Gap was established through a secretive agreement between the U.S. and Australian governments. The facility occupies over 4,200 acres of land. The land was taken without the consent of the indigenous peoples, which means, by the law made in 2007, they had to give Pine Gap back to the natives. However, they refused flat out to do so. Next, an Australian Prime Minister, Gough Whitlam, threatened to close Pine Gap down. Christopher Boyce, a CIA contractor at TRW's, quote, Black Vault, claimed that the CIA had orchestrated Gough Whitlam's removal from office. So why was there an alleged U.S. coup all to protect Pine Gap? This Prime Minister, who was openly suspicious of U.S. activity in Australia, exposed the fact that the first Pine Gap director was a CIA agent, something that was kept a secret. Whitlam planned to reveal the names of all CIA agents operating in Australia, and that the lease for Pine Gap would not be renewed. He was about to speak about Pine Gap in Parliament when he was dismissed. He was removed from office by Governor-General Sir John Kerr, who answers not to Australians but to the British Crown. It was the only time in Australian history that the Prime Minister was forcibly removed by the Governor-General. Documents confirm Kerr had direct communications with U.S. and British intelligence prior to the dismissal. The U.S. is still deeply involved in Pine Gap today, maybe more than ever. Pine Gap is still operated by the U.S., NSA, CIA, and NRO. It is still a joint facility, but most of the power, control, and data access is held by the U.S. These are the Five Eyes: the U.S., Great Britain, Australia, Canada, and New Zealand. What do the Five Eyes do? Well, according to the Snowden leaks, the Five Eyes countries spy on each other's citizens to get around domestic privacy laws. The Five Eyes operations are above national law. Even the Prime Minister of New Zealand admitted he does not have full access to what's being done. Another location almost identical to Pine Gap, only on British soil, is the Royal Air Force Menwith Hill, the largest monitoring station in the world operated by the NSA. Despite being called the Royal Air Force Menwith Hill, the Royal Air Force doesn't have any control there. Members of Parliament have been denied access to American parts of the base multiple times. Edward Snowden also revealed that Menwith Hill is a key node in the Five Eyes. Multiple U.S. reports have hinted that Menwith Hill includes many subterranean operations. So the Five Eyes are the U.S., Great Britain, Australia, Canada, and New Zealand. They spy on each other's citizens to get around privacy laws and have many shady bases under their control that are off limits even to the government of that area. I encourage you not to take my words without research of your own, but also to be able to question the narrative. I also encourage you to dig deeper into the subject, as I have only scratched the surface.